Yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Madam Commissioner. We are here today not just to condemn a murder, but we are here to discuss the response of the EU institutions. And in that context, I note that once again the Council is absent, and that is significant. They're not taking responsibility for any of this. We visited Malta 2 weeks ago, and what we saw has not reassured us. It has basically fanned our concerns, and I'm also deeply concerned at the lack of urgency that I sense, in particular in the Council and to a lesser degree in the Commission. I welcome that this Commission is at least taking steps, in contrast to the previous Commission that was completely silent. But we have to realise that we are dealing here with hard-nosed criminals who are literally ready to kill. They're not going to be terribly impressed by a bureaucratic response, or by the Venice Commission, or by infringement procedures. They're criminals, that's what we're dealing with. And what is more worrying are the connections between those criminals and politics, all the way up to the office of the Prime Minister. That is what we're talking about. And this is part of the fabric that is the European Union. Now the question is, at the end of this, will we be able to look ourselves in the eye? Will we be able to look into the eyes of the family of Daphne Caruana Galizia and say that we have done everything in our power? Everything. And yes, within the limits, Mrs. Sippel, of the rule of law. But the presumption of innocence should never become the pretense of innocence. Now, there is, first of all, the immediate term, and that is to safeguard the integrity of the murder investigation. And I note here that although it is not our task to call for the resignation of the Prime Minister, that is the duty of the Maltese Parliament, and it should not be absolved of its responsibility. I do think that we should point out here that his continued presence in the office of the Prime Minister is cause for grave concern. Because if there is a risk, real or perceived, of meddling with the investigation, then basically we are eroding the trust in the investigation, trust in the authorities and in the rule of law. And therefore, I would like to really urge the European Commission to immediately start the dialogue in the rule of law framework. And I'm glad that the Commission has already sent a letter yesterday. And of course the Council should be deeply ashamed of itself. The government leaders who are sitting at the table with the Prime Minister of Malta refusing to even discuss what is going on. It is deeply shameful. They should take responsibility for the integrity of the European Union. Of course, in the longer term, there is the rule of law reforms, the constitutional reforms, banning corruption, money laundering, ending the sale of passports, and all the rest of it. But in conclusion, colleagues, we have to recognise this is not a technocratic issue. It's not just a legal issue. This is an issue of taking political responsibility for the health of the democratic rule of law in the European Union as a whole. Because if we don't do it, and if we don't do it now, this disease will spread. So let's act now. Thank you.